On Valentine's Day, the moon hung low, casting eerie shadows across the deserted streets. Sarah, a young woman with a penchant for romance, wandered alone, clutching a wilting bouquet of blood-red roses. As she passed an abandoned house, a chill ran down her spine. Ignoring her instincts, she pressed on, drawn by an inexplicable force. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of decay. Sarah's heart pounded as she ascended the creaking staircase, each step echoing like a sinister melody. In the dim light, she saw a figure shrouded in darkness, its eyes gleaming with malice. Frozen with fear, Sarah watched as it approached, a ghastly grin spreading across its face. "Happy Valentine's Day, Sarah," the figure whispered, its voice a haunting melody that sent shivers down her spine. Suddenly, the roses in her hand turned black, their petals crumbling to dust. Desperate to escape, Sarah turned to flee, but the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. Trapped in the darkness, Sarah's screams echoed through the empty house, unheard by the outside world. As the night stretched on, she realized she was not alone. Shadows danced in the corners, whispering sinister secrets that chilled her to the bone. Each passing moment felt like an eternity, as if time itself had been twisted by malevolent forces. With each beat of her heart, Sarah felt the darkness closing in around her, suffocating her with its icy grip. In a final act of defiance, she closed her eyes and whispered a prayer for salvation. But as the first light of dawn broke through the darkness, Sarah knew that she was doomed to spend eternity trapped in this nightmare realm, a victim of the horrors that lurked within the shadows of Valentine's Day. The cold wind whispered through the barren trees, carrying with it a sense of foreboding. Valentine's Day had arrived, but in the small town of Hollowbrook, there was no joy, only fear. Legend spoke of a cursed Valentine's Day, where those who dared to love would meet a terrible fate. It was said that on this night, the spirit of a scorned lover roamed the streets, seeking vengeance on those who had wronged her. As darkness fell, couples nervously exchanged gifts and whispered sweet nothings, unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows. Sarah and Michael, deeply in love, wandered hand in hand through the deserted streets, oblivious to the danger that awaited them. Suddenly, a chilling breeze swept through the air, extinguishing the flickering streetlights. Sarah's heart raced as she felt a cold hand brush against her cheek. Michael froze, his blood running cold as they heard a haunting melody drifting from the darkness. They turned to flee, but it was too late. The spirit emerged from the shadows, her eyes burning with hatred. Sarah and Michael screamed as they were consumed by the darkness, their love twisted into something sinister and deadly. In the days that followed, the town mourned the loss of its young lovers, but the legend lived on. Each Valentine's Day, the spirit of the scorned lover would return, claiming new victims in her relentless quest for revenge. And so the cursed Valentine's Day continued to haunt the town of Hollowbrook, a grim reminder of the dangers of love and the horrors that lurked in the darkness. On Valentine's Day, amidst the rosy hue of love, something sinister lurked in the shadows of the quaint town. Every year, a peculiar tradition unfolded under the veil of romance, sending shivers down the spines of the locals. It was whispered that on this day, the ghost of a jilted lover wandered the cobblestone streets, seeking vengeance for a love unrequited. As the sun dipped below the horizon, an eerie mist enveloped the town, cloaking it in an ominous gloom. Couples strolled hand in hand, oblivious to the malevolent presence that loomed nearby. In an old, dilapidated mansion on the outskirts, a solitary figure awaited its annual ritual. In a room adorned with wilted roses and tattered lace, the ghostly specter materialized, its form twisted with anguish and despair. Through the veil of time, the echoes of a tragic love story reverberated in the air. A forbidden romance torn asunder by betrayal and deceit. As the clock struck midnight, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence, sending shockwaves through the town. Doors slammed shut, windows rattled, and the air grew thick with fear. The ghostly apparition, fueled by centuries of heartache, unleashed its wrath upon the unsuspecting revelers. Couples found themselves ensnared in a nightmarish dance, their hearts gripped by terror as they were forced to confront the darkest corners of their souls. Love turned to agony, passion to anguish, as the ghost exacted its vengeance upon those who dared to celebrate love without understanding its true cost. By dawn's light, the town lay in ruins, its streets littered with the remnants of shattered hearts and shattered dreams. The ghost, its thirst for revenge momentarily sated, faded back into the shadows, leaving behind a trail of devastation in its wake. And so, the legend of Valentine's Day in this cursed town persisted, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones to future generations. For in the embrace of love, there also lurked the specter of darkness, waiting to claim its next victim in the name of an eternal twisted passion. As the sun dipped below the horizon on Valentine's Day, a chill crept through the air, setting the stage for a tale of terror. In the quaint town of Rosewood, whispers of a dark presence lingered, woven into the very fabric of its history. Amelia, a young woman with a heart full of longing, received an anonymous Valentine's Day card. Its crimson envelope bore no sender's name, only a cryptic message: "Love beyond the grave awaits." Bewildered yet intrigued, she brushed it off as a prank, though unease nestled deep within her soul. That night, as Amelia lay in bed, the sound of whispers echoed through her room, carrying a haunting melody. She dismissed it as the wind, but the sensation of being watched lingered, like unseen eyes piercing through the darkness. As the clock struck midnight, a spectral figure materialized at the foot of her bed, its visage obscured by shadows. Frozen in terror, Amelia watched as it extended a skeletal hand, offering a wilted bouquet of blood-red roses. With each petal that fell, a ghastly tale unfurled, a history of love twisted into tragedy. The ghostly apparition revealed itself as a scorned lover from centuries past, cursed to roam the earth in search of eternal companionship. Amelia's heart raced as she realized the truth. The card, the whispers, the spectral presence, all were manifestations of a love turned malignant. In a desperate bid for escape, she fled into the night, the specter's mournful wails echoing behind her. But the curse was relentless, its tendrils reaching beyond the veil of reality. Everywhere she turned, Amelia found herself ensnared in a macabre dance with the supernatural, her sanity unraveling with each passing moment. In the end, Amelia faced a choice: embrace the darkness that threatened to consume her, or confront the horrors of Valentine's Day head-on. With trembling hands, she returned to the heart of Rosewood, where the specter awaited, its hollow eyes filled with longing. As dawn broke over the horizon, a solitary figure stood amidst a sea of blood-red roses, a testament to love's enduring power and its capacity for unspeakable terror. And in the shadows of Valentine's Day, the echoes of a cursed romance whispered on, a reminder of the darkness that lurked within the hearts of men. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a pale glow over the deserted streets. Valentine's Day 2024 was supposed to be a night of love and joy, but for Emily, it turned into a nightmare. As she wandered through the empty town, a sense of unease gnawed at her. The once vibrant streets were now eerily quiet, devoid of any signs of life. The air was thick with an ominous silence. Suddenly, Emily heard a faint whisper echoing through the darkness. She froze, her heart pounding in her chest. The whisper grew louder, filling her ears with a chilling sensation. It sounded like a plea for help, desperate and anguished. With trembling hands, Emily followed the sound, her footsteps echoing off the empty buildings. Each step felt like a journey into the unknown, deeper into the heart of darkness. As she turned a corner, Emily's blood ran cold. Before her stood a figure cloaked in shadows, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. It beckoned to her, its voice a haunting melody that sent shivers down her spine. Unable to resist, Emily approached the figure, her mind consumed by fear. She reached out to touch it, but as her hand made contact, she felt a surge of icy coldness coursing through her veins. In an instant, the world around her twisted and contorted, morphing into a nightmarish landscape of horrors. She was trapped in a nightmare, a prisoner of her own fears. With every passing moment, the darkness closed in around her, suffocating her with its malevolent presence. Emily screamed, but her cries were swallowed by the void. And as the clock struck midnight, Valentine's Day came to a chilling end, leaving Emily lost in the darkness, forever haunted by the horrors of that fateful night.